Hello, and welcome to episode 22 of Design Curious Podcast. I'm your host and mentor, Rebecca Ward. Today, I have a great interview with Ellen Walker of Ellen Walker Design, and she is out of Canada. As I've gotten to know her over the last year and a half, it's been really fun watching her really branch out and start to work with builders and get awards and things like that. So I love her story. You'll enjoy hearing from her today. Let me tell you just a little bit more about her. Ellen loves to travel and draw inspiration from art, architecture, beautiful fabrics, and furniture wherever she happens to be. Interior design, however, encompasses more than a visual aesthetic. Great design is characterized by functionality, timeless style, and a positive emotional connection with those who use the space. As an industry leader in incorporating the psychology of design into her projects, she solves people's design problems and has access to experts in both design psychology and environment design, allowing her to deeply understand what people need in their spaces in order to live better. Throughout the years, she's worked on renovations ranging from one room to a full house, as well as new builds that vary from small to large projects in both residential and commercial spaces. She's obsessed with creating and remodeling spaces of all stories. And she is out of Red Deer County in Alberta, Canada. And you can find her at ellenwalkerdesign.com. So let's hear from Ellen today. You're now listening to Design Curious, a place where you, creative one, are here to learn about what it really is like to be an interior designer. And I'm your host and mentor, Rebecca Ward. If you're worried about how to succeed in a creative career, if you're ready to learn your next steps to become an interior designer, and if you want the satisfaction of doing something you love every day, you are in the right place. Grab a coffee, a notebook, and let's dig into today's episode. Well, hi, Ellen. Thank you for coming on the podcast today. It's great to have you.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us the name of your company and where you're located?
So the name of my company is Ellen Walker Design Group. I am located in Red Deer, Alberta, in Canada, so a little bit farther north. And I've had my business now since 1995, actually May 15th of 1995. So that is a few years, 28 years, I guess.
Yeah, that's
but
great.
It started out differently.
Yeah. Well, we can talk about that. So let's go way back before 1995 when you started your business. How did you get into design? Did you go to school for it?
Actually, I did go to school, but then that wasn't by online. It was through cassette tapes.
Oh.
An online version, but mailing system.
Sure, yeah.
It was something I'd always wanted to do as a child, and something I dreamt of. And when I graduated from high school, I remember my father just said, "No, Ellen, just go get a real job." So, yeah, I put it off for a few years.
Oh, poor interior design career always gets like poo-pooed by parents, I think, as not being a legit career, but we know better.
Yeah, that's right.
So how long did it take you, and what did you decide to do in the meantime before you came back to design?
So I worked as an administrative person for a few larger companies. I did serving as well. And then the company, I was working for a petrochemical company. And I really didn't like it. All I could think of was to somehow get into design. So they actually were downsizing all their staff. They called it re-engineering. So They were offering packages. And actually my husband worked out there too. That's how we met. So one of them was an educational package, but we had just adopted our son, who was a toddler. And one was an entrepreneurial package. There was other ones too. To go to school physically from where we are, because we're an hour and a half from two big cities like Edmonton and Calgary, that just wasn't going to work with having a 2-year-old and new. So I took the entrepreneurial package, which gave me some money to start up. And in the meantime, I had bought a window covering business, like for a small amount of money, like $5,000. And so then I decided to take, I guess then an online course, it was done by cassette tapes. So I did that. It took me about 2 years, but in the meantime, I was doing mainly window coverings. And then my little shop was out of a local paint store, a Benjamin Moore dealer.
Oh, yeah.
So one of my clients at that time said, you should partner with Matt, make an alliance.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did. So I was there for 9 years. Also, I learned how to mix paint and when it wasn't super busy. So I did lots of other things. And then just some things in my life with kids and stuff. And running around all the time, because I never charged to go out to somebody's place. I was starting to burn out.
Yeah.
Get tired. So one of the local flooring companies said, well, Ellen, why don't you just come work for us? And so I thought about it, went, okay, well, I'll have more opportunity for design, because I found in the paint business, people are already building. You're too late.
Right, yeah.
Or in the window covering business, they're beyond the initial stage.
Right.
So I did go to this company. After 2 months, I just told them, I was so used to my own schedule. My son was 11 at the time, and I found that I had to have longer hours, and it didn't really work. And I just got frustrated, and I just finally said to them, I said, this isn't working for me. I'm going to quit. And the owner said, well, Ellen, don't quit. Just do what you can.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, fine. I'm going back to having my own business too. So I freelanced for the next 9 years. I learned a lot about flooring. I started to slowly get some more design projects. And then, so then 9 years, I guess it's been 9 years. I still always work with them because I was hardly ever there. I just occupied a space.
Okay.
And they had changed the way they did things. The son took over, and they wanted me to be there from 9 to 5:30. It would mean I couldn't do my own business anymore. And I just said, no. I said, that feels like a dog chained to a post, and I just can't do it.
Yeah.
So, it's been 9.
Wow. Very good. Wow. So that is it's kind of like a organic approach to creating your own company and becoming a designer. It just happened a little by little, step by step in that direction. And then eventually, now here you are with a successful firm and a project. Didn't you get published recently or won an award or something?
I won an award this past spring for excellence in interior design. It's a builders association. So it's the association, there's home builders, contractors, trades, suppliers are all members of this. It's a national Canadian company. It's divided into regions. So there was a project that a builder and I had worked on. So I decided to enter it, and I've entered before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I won. So
wonderful. Awesome. Yeah. Wow. So along the way, as you're building your business and becoming more confident as a designer, what were the challenges that you faced, if there were any, that you thought of as far as confidence of what you were doing? Was it just experience giving you that confidence, or did you naturally fall into it? Is it natural talent or feedback from clients? Like, how did you keep going in that direction?
Well, that was the hardest thing for me in the confidence area, is that I didn't have the full degree.
Yeah.
And I still don't know CAD. And now I refuse to learn it. I don't want to learn it. Somebody else can do it for me. Yeah,
you can outsource that. But do you think it's just the mental step of like, I don't have a degree in this, and was the mindset of it was holding you back sometimes in your confidence?
Yep.
Yeah.
It was not always easy. I ran into a couple of really nasty clients, a couple of things which I think lots of designers face. One really shook my confidence. Yeah, I did have a hard time with confidence, building my confidence. I also have been a Business of Design member since it first started. So I would slowly start to try to implement those steps, but it was a process.
Yeah.
And then it's been 5 years now. just things started to really kind of click. I got better clients, maybe because I use the systems more.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I'm well known in the area. I'm not in a large center. So sometimes that's a little bit frustrating. Sometimes it's the mindset of people here, but I seem to be doing okay. So
Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm actually making money.
Yeah, well, that's really important. A lot of
Well, one time
don't.
my accountant said, you'd be better off working at Starbucks. You'd probably make.
Oh my goodness. And was that because your fees weren't high enough, or you just weren't tracking your hours, or a combination of the way that you were?
Yeah, my fees weren't high enough. Yeah, I wasn't tracking all my hours. I wasn't charging for all my hours. And I was just doing things differently.
Yeah.
Took me a while to learn.
Yeah. Well,
and then I had a couple coaches too that helped me see things in a different way too, which really helped. But yes, it's still been a process.
Yeah.
It's not been one straight line.
Right. I think that is often the case.
Yeah.
We learn from our mistakes. We learn from projects that cost us some money to fix a problem. And we never make that mistake again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So would you say that is there any like secret sauce or to becoming a successful designer? Is it take a lot of perseverance being an entrepreneur? What would you say about that?
I think it takes a lot of perseverance. I think it takes a lot of surrounding yourself with other like-minded people who are successful too, learning from other people. I do think coaching is a huge part of it.
Yeah.
It's not an easy job. It is not an easy job. And then it's also learning people's personalities, which I really found.
Like learning your clients' personalities and understanding when you're meeting with them for the first time, what kind of a client they're going to be.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Trying to analyze. I feel I've gotten better at that to try to, and maybe this is a person I don't want to work with. Right. I don't see it going very well.
Right. Did you get coaching early on in your career or was that later?
No, that was probably 15 or so, between 10 and 15 years.
Yeah.
And I have a couple coaches.
Yeah.
I needed one again.
I think, at least in my case, when I started getting coaching, realizing that how helpful coaching can be, that's when my business started to really turn a corner and be profitable and actually was able to grow in a more sustainable way. So is there anything that you wish you had known when you were starting out that you know now? But like if you, Ellen from way back then, what would you tell her if she's just starting out taking those cassette tapes and listening to them?
It's not a glorified, easy job.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I just had one client who said, I should charge you for shopping. I said, okay, wait a minute. That's called sourcing. That is not shopping. Shopping is something that you do for yourself and it's enjoyable. When I go sourcing, I am focused on you.
Yeah.
It was a joke she made. And she even said it today to her sister. Yeah, Ellen corrected me on that. And I said, yes. But I would have, if I had known about the system that I use now back then, I'd say that's a huge part of it, is having some definite systems and procedures in place that you can implement on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I think that's so important. And get coaching right away.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's easy in our industry for designers to fall into business and not really think about the systems and procedures right away because they might have started out as a hobby or something that they really want, really enjoy designing and decorating, but then it's not the business part of it that they're really thinking about. And that's really the most important part of it. If you want to do it for a living as a career.
Yeah. It's burnt me out a couple times.
Yeah.
Where it's, did I want to actually continue to do this?
Mm-hmm. And you never worked for another designer or with another designer? Just did it?
No, I started a local group here there's a few of us, so there's about 6 of us that we get together on a regular basis. We've gotten to know each other. Not everybody uses the same system I use. There's a couple of us, but that's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They want to do their own thing. I've tried. Go for
it. Yeah, some people are kind of, stubborn about their own process, and that's fine. If it works for them, I guess that's fine, as long as they're being profitable.
Yeah, exactly.
Any other advice for up and coming designers who would be considering becoming an interior designer? Something you'd recommend to them?
I would suggest go work for an established firm
Mm-hmm.
first. Learn how they do things, what's required, just to gain at least to gain some experience if you want to go the route of an entrepreneur, because it's not as easy. To me, I think it would be an easier path. So
Yeah.
I know the junior designer I have right now, I said, my goal is to eventually retire. And she plans on staying. And I said, well, maybe you can just take it over for me one day.
Yeah.
She's happy to be doing it for me. It's working out great. So I'm getting her slowly to do more and more stuff.
Yeah, good. And as long as she has a desire to be a business owner as well, I think, because there's going to be some designers that work for other designers who don't really want to own their own company, because there's a lot of hats to wear. But yes, if she's interested in being kind of a successor to you, then that'd be great to groom her for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We'll see where that goes.
Yeah. Well, where can everybody go to see your beautiful award-winning work?
If you go to www.ellenwalkerdesign.com, that's my website.
Okay. And you on Instagram?
On Instagram as well.
Okay, great. We'll put
and
that
Facebook.
And Facebook. Okay.
And LinkedIn.
What are you on the most? Where do you
Instagram.
Instagram, yeah. Okay, well, we'll put that in the show notes for everybody to check out. Well, thank you, Ellen, for sharing your expertise and your path. And it's really helpful to hear how everybody gets their own ways to success. And it's a different story for everyone. And I love hearing yours. So thank you for that.
Well, you're welcome.
So it's so fun talking with Ellen, just all of her experience, that she's been in a gang for a while, but it shows you that there's always room for growth and improvement, and she's a testimony of that, and she's doing great today in her design. Such an inspiration to me. Again, you can find all of her contact information in our show notes, and you can find that at rwarddesign.com/podcast. Don't forget to leave me a 5-star rating and review. I love reading those reviews. And if you want to reach out to me, podcast@rwarddesign.com is the email. I love connecting with people on Instagram as well. So go check us out at rwarddesign. And you can see all of the podcasts that we post on there, and as well as our projects from my own firm. And don't forget to check out My Design Mentor. That program is for people who are wanting to know a little more, like this podcast, about the career of interior design and seeing if it's the career for them. So stick around for another great episode next week. We'll talk to you then. And until then, stay creative. Thanks for listening. If you love this episode, please leave a rating and a review. This helps me reach other curious creatives like you. If you have a topic request or would like to contact me, simply head over to my website, rwarddesign.com, or email me at podcast@rwarddesign.com.